All right, guys, this is just a quick PowerPoint on how a bill becomes a law. Earlier in the module, you guys watched the Schoolhouse Rock version of how a bill becomes a law. Now, that's always great to show your elementary to middle school students on how a bill becomes a law, but it's actually way more in depth. Earlier in the Schoolhouse Rock, you probably should have gotten maybe 4 to 6 steps, but there are actually 11 steps for a bill becoming a law. The first step is called a bill is born. All right, at least that's what I call it. Anyone can draft a bill. A legislative member, so a member of Congress, a cabinet, so somebody from the cabinet, so on the executive, in the executive department, the president can even write a bill. You could write a bill if you wanted to. You could write up a bill and send it into your congressman. But only a legislator can introduce the bill into Congress. All right, no one else can. The best you can do if you want to write your own bill is to write a bill, send it to your congressman, and hopefully your congressman will do something with it. There are only a couple of catches because a bill can be introduced into the Senate or House, but there is a catch. Only the House can create bills based on taxes. The reason why is because when the Constitution was written, the only house that the public actually got to vote for at the federal level was the House. The Senate was elected by officials at the state level. So you would vote for state officials, and then those state officials would elect people to represent you in the Senate and the federal Congress. The reason why they did that was because they wanted it to make sure that it directly was based on what you wanted, the constituent, the individual. Okay, so after the bill is born, after this bill has been brought into Congress, it goes to a committee. Okay, these committees, there are different types of committees. There are standing committees. Standing committees are committees that are always going to be there. Joint committees are committees that people in the Senate and people in the House are both in. And then you have committees that aren't permanent. All right, they're just there just because, maybe it's an importance at that time. So the Committee on Native American Relations is no longer there because we don't have the need for it like we did before. So as soon as a bill is introduced, it is referred to a specific committee. So if I introduce a bill on energy, it's going to go to the committee that's based on energy. The reason why is because these committees are like experts of that particular field. Now, I don't want to put them down as they're professors, but they can look into it a little bit more specifically than the entire Congress can. And things can get done in a more timely manner. You have to think about it as, okay, let's say there are 2,000 bills in 1 year going into the House. Well, it's going to take a lot longer for the entire House, 435 people, to go through a bill than it would just for a certain set few. The bill is examined very carefully during this time period to see, if there needs to be changes, if they want to kill the bill. Now, I say kill the bill, that just means that the bill will never become a law. If the committee does not like the bill, so if it's a committee about, no one can ever own a puppy, all right, well, nobody likes that bill, so that bill isn't even going to go on to the next step. They're not even going to touch that bill. But if they do like the bill, it goes to our next step, okay, step number 3. All right, a subcommittee. So a subcommittee is just a even smaller committee of that committee. So that committee on energy will have a subcommittee that is totally based on, wind-powered energy. So it's referred to the subcommittee within the committee. In these subcommittees, they study the bill. They look through different types of information about the bill. They try to bulk the bill up a little bit. They also hear hearings from experts. So if they have any questions about this, they'll bring in experts from the outside. The experts will come in and discuss, how this bill could help or hurt the economy or help or hurt the country in general. These hearings are put on record for the views of the executive branch and other public officials, the experts, supporters, and opponents of the legislation. Anybody can come in during this time and voice their opinion on the legislation that's being passed, so the subcommittee can hear it. Now, after all the studying and hearings have been done, they go on to the next step, which is the markup step. So after hearing the professionals and all of these people that are either opponents or for the bill, they go into the markup. So they make changes and amendments prior to recommending the bill to the full committee. So they might not like a few things within that bill, so they can change it in the subcommittee. Now, if the subcommittee votes not to report the legislation to the full committee, the bill dies, okay? The bill is killed. It no longer can go and become a law. But after all the markups, after the changes that they've made, if the committee votes for the bill and it passes, it's then sent up to the main committee, which is our next step. The committee action to report the bill. So after receiving the subcommittee's report on the bill, then the full committee, it doesn't matter if it's a House committee or a Senate committee, the full committee will then vote on whether they want to recommend the bill to be passed to the House or the Senate, or if they want to kill the bill. If it passes, it goes to the floor of the House or Senate. So the entire House or Senate, so either 435 members or 100 members are going to hear this bill. But if it doesn't pass, it can either go back down to subcommittee, so maybe there's one line in it that nobody can agree on, so it needs to go back to subcommittee so it can change it. It would go back there. Or it would just basically die, all right? People don't want it, so it's not going to get passed through, so all of that work would basically be for naught. This procedure is called ordering a bill reported after they've reported the bill to the floor of the House or Senate. After it was put in the hopper, now there's this little box at the front of each House or Senate that is called the hopper. That's where you put your bill. After it gets there, the House or Senate Rules Committee will take a look at it, figure out whether or not, how much time is going to be given, at least in the House, to debate it, or if it's even going to be covered. Members of Congress during this time, the voting and debating part, will actually be given time to voice their opinions while the bill is on the floor of either the House or the Senate. After the debate and the approval of any amendments, the bill is then passed or defeated by the members voting. This is one of the most difficult parts of the bill-making process because depending on if you're in the Senate or the House, there are different ways that things could go wrong for you. So if it's a Republican-held House, if it's a bill that may be biased towards Democrats, maybe the Republicans might not want to pass it through based on that certain criteria because they don't want, to have Democrats get their way or vice versa. Also in the Senate, since they don't have any set time on how long they can debate like in the House, you can have people get up there and filibuster. A filibuster is just a senator can go up there and basically talk for an unlimited amount of time. So they can basically talk the bill to death. After this, let's say everything goes well and you get the vote and it gets passed through and it goes to either the next floor, it goes to the Senate or it'll go to the House. It gets to the referral to the other chamber. So when the House or Senate passes a bill, it is referred to the other chamber. Okay, it goes through the same exact routine. So as soon as it goes to the other chamber, it has to go to committee. Then it has to go to subcommittee. Then it has to go to the floor. Then it has to go through everything that has already been discussed one more time. So as you can see, a lot of people complain about, how long it takes for anything to get done in Washington. Well, you know what? All these steps are why it takes so long to do it. This chamber may approve the bill as received, so maybe, the committee might like it right off the bat and push it through. They could reject it, so they could just kill the bill right there. They could completely ignore it, which would also kill the bill. Or they would change it, so they go to committee, they go to subcommittee, then back to committee and go through all that stuff. But if they change it, it would then have to go to our next step, okay, a conference committee or a joint committee. When the actions of the other chamber significantly alter the bill, it needs to go to a conference committee. The conference committee basically is there to make sure that both the House and the Senate are happy with the changes. Okay, but after, let's say they are both happy with the changes, it will have to then go to both floors again and get passed through again. Both House and the Senate must approve of the conference report. If they don't, the bill dies. If the committee are unable to reach agreement, the bill dies. It's very, very dangerous for a bill. I always kind of think of it as like I'm watching the Discovery Channel and there's a hurt gazelle running around the prairie, okay? There's always these terrible things that can happen to this gazelle, but hopefully it misses all of these terrible things like lions and alligators and everything like that, and will get out safely or become a law. The final action. So after both the House and the Senate have approved the bill in identical forms, that's big, okay, right there, identical forms. They have to be exactly the same. It is then sent to the President, the executive branch. This is one of the checks that the executive branch has on the legislative branch. If the President approves of the legislation, it's easy. All he does is he signs it into law and everybody's happy. If the President does not approve of it, though, and he vetoes it, he has to make sure that he writes down everything that he doesn't like about the bill, and he'll send it back to Congress. If Congress then wants to take action, they can either go through this entire process again, taking into account what the President said, and try to fix things to get it passed through, or they can get a 2/3 majority and, oh, well, that's the next one. I'm not going to give it away. Or if the President doesn't take action within 10 days of the bill being sent to the President while the legislative branch is still in session, okay, they're not on vacation, it automatically becomes law. But on the backside of that, if it comes up to the President while Congress is adjourned, and the President doesn't take action, it just automatically dies. Okay, it's automatically vetoed. Now, if the Congress does not like the decision of the President vetoing this happened with Nixon a lot. Nobody trusted Nixon after the Watergate scandal came out, so they started just passing things over President Nixon's head. The override, the veto. If both the Senate and the House pass the bill by 2/3 majority, the President's veto is overruled and the bill becomes law. Overall, I think I counted that we have 10, actually, there are 11 steps for a bill to become a law. This will be very helpful in your weekly assignment. So I would move on to that and make sure that you take into account what has been discussed.